Hi, I'm Michelle O'Neill, and welcome to The Michelle O'Neill Show. Today, my guest is Michael Ray Newman. I can't wait for y'all to meet this guy. You talk about a ball of energy. This guy is a ball of energy. And he's a great friend of mine, and he has been a very inspiring person for me personally. So without any further ado, welcome, Michael Ray Newman.
What's up? Ball of energy, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
I like
you know you are.
I dig it.
You know you are.
Yeah, a little bit of me goes a long ways, what my brothers say. So be careful. Get loose.
Tell me, who is Michael Ray Newman today?
Oh, I'm a dad, number one, and I'm a grandpa now.
Oh my, yes, you are.
I had Presley, my oldest, had her 2-year, Hollis, my first grandbaby girl, had her 2-year birthday the 15th of this month.
Oh my goodness.
And my son is having his boy on the 23rd of February-ish, named Coy.
Wow.
So I'm about to be a grandpa 2 times
Twice.
over.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm very excited about it.
All right. So what do you do for work?
Well, right now, it's been crazy the last couple of years. We've had to pivot a couple of things because of what we've lost, but not business-wise. We've lost a major foundational pillar person that was running our construction company we've had for over 30 years. And I've had my construction hat on pretty hardcore, and it's been awesome. I mean, it's been really challenging, hardest things I've gone through. You know, just when you think you can go start teaching it, then God says, I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
Let's see you go start putting into practice
Right.
what you preach.
So you're a serial entrepreneur, though.
Yes, I am. So I've got.
How many companies do you presently own?
Well, right now we've got 4 companies that we are holding, or we are building, or in the process of selling.
So construction?
Yep.
Auto sales?
Yep.
Okay. What else?
We have a auction company. It's called, we provide labor for auto auctions.
Okay.
And it's been a lot of fun. Been doing that for 20 years. My construction company for 30 years. The little dealership, we more of an investor role in that now. And then I've got Edge Global, our training company.
Yep. Edge
which is
Global.
crushing it.
So you do business training, not sales training?
Leadership, sales training, operational engagement. We've been doing a lot of that lately. The culture, personality profiles, and really, because Mindset of a Champion is our new program we just launched. And it's awesome because it is a 52-week virtual online program. I'm very proud of it. And we do a lot of we do personal coaching too, and consulting, life by design coaching. Got my little brand here
Yes.
for you. Oh,
yes.
Come on.
Oh.
I know I'm not supposed to move the
You're
pillow.
hiding
I'm sorry.
something.
I got you a little swag.
Oh, I got my own cup.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and I got you life by design shirt,
Oh,
baby
my
girl.
own T-shirt.
Hashtag win.
Excellent. I'm
You can't be without
loving
this too, right here, too.
this.
I got you a wristband, whatever it takes.
Oh my goodness, I love it. We've got all sorts of Michael Ray Newman swag going on. Excellent.
I got that for
I
you,
love
so
it.
Here you go.
All
Throw
right.
that off to the side. I know that
All
kind of shut your wheels off a little bit.
We'll chuck that off the stage.
So
there.
yeah, we do that right there. The program, what we've been doing is because here's the deal with these mentors out there. It's people that are crazy. You are actually involved. You do it still. I mean, you're out there grinding every day still. You do your business, and this is your little side hustle that's blowing up, which I'm super proud of you. Very grateful for being here. Thank you for having me. But it's been really, you got to be careful because it's really important and we'll get into it in a little bit, I'm sure. It's important for you guys to go find mentors. But there's a lot of posers out there.
Yeah.
They don't really do it. People, when you coach someone, you get involved, you're getting the real you of what you do. I heard somebody out there talking about you in a minute. Michelle said, she's so awesome. She's so authentically herself, which is what we coach people to be. That's the secret sauce.
Right.
But because when she shows up one day, I was devastated and I was upset and I was crying. And I went to Michelle's house and she goes, well, first of all, stop crying. We can't be having that.
Hey, no crying in baseball.
That's right. No crying, but no whiners in this game. That's what my 2 kids, the first phrase they learned when they were little bitty, my oldest, no whiners in this game. And one day the little girl gets hurt in the Chick-fil-A little play area and she's throwing a fit and crying. And my oldest little girl walks up and it's Presley and she goes, that's okay. No whiners in this game. There's no whiners in this game. So that's what you're authentically you. But she said you changed her. That right there changed everything for her. She went from being a victim to a survival mode. And that's what we talk a little bit about that too. So we coach that, we teach that. And it is life by design, which is a whole thing of whatever it takes, when, now, and to understand this. People talk about I'm building this so I can leave my legacy. Bull crap. Let's live the legacy.
Yes.
Let's get out there and
Live
do it.
the
Ring the
legacy.
rag. And it is a life by design.
So Edge Global is the main company with the motivational
Yep. I got
portion.
Edwin Britt. We do a lot of keynote speaking. We do a lot of we do business training. Like I said, leadership, sales training. And what we found out with Mindset of a Champion is people are out there hitting their quota, chasing their championships, and they don't really lean into the process. And it is a journey. You never arrive. You know that.
Right.
So we teach, that's what we teach. Lean into the process. And it really, instead of pointing fingers at everybody, let's get on the same page. Let's all play from the same playbook. And we've really been like I said, my voice is gone I've been doing 3 days worth of training. So it's been a lot of fun.
And you're headed to another one tonight.
Yep, heading out this evening.
So, okay. So let's switch gears just a little bit.
Okay.
I want to deep dive on Michael Ray Newman.
Man, that makes me nervous.
I know. But you knew it coming in. So, all right, where were you raised?
Wichita Falls, Texas, out there, a little town called Valley View, Kameh, Iowa Park area. And then my dad realized that there's 96 people in the town, and there wasn't a lot of, the average household income was just above or just below the poverty line, depending on the price of oil that day. So he had the foresight to get the heck out of there. We moved to Dallas, went to South Dallas, wound up in Oak Cliff, Texas. And he was busting flats and cleaning out the mobile building in Dallas at night as a janitor.
Yeah.
And we finally hit the lottery, and he got a great job at General Motors, working on the line. We had like benefits, and we could eat 3 meals a day.
What high school did you go to?
Duncanville High School, because we got a little older, moved a little further south, and bought our first house.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Went to Duncanville High School here in Texas.
And siblings?
I've got two siblings, brothers. I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
And like I said, they say a little bit of me goes a long way. It's Bruce is my just younger than me. And then Brandon is our baby.
Yeah.
We're all in the same business, and all those guys run that we built businesses together over the last 30 years.
So I know a lot about your story. I've heard you tell your story, but I wanna take a breath and move through it as if I don't know about it.
Okay.
So one of the things that I want to talk about is that time, or maybe multiple times, where you had that lowest of the low moments. I mean, we've all had them. And if you haven't had them, you just haven't lived enough yet.
That's right.
So, and in that moment, when life kicks you in the teeth and you're down in the ditch and you're down in this, you may even think it's a well that you'll never get out of, right? And you're looking around and you think you're alone and you're hopeless and it's dark and there's nowhere to go from here. Have you ever had one of those moments?
I've had many of them.
Well, tell me about the first one.
Oh.
Set the stage.
It's going to be crazy, because I'm going to tell you the first one and you're going to be like, what? I mean, the first one that I can remember in my life, I was 6 years old. And I really, truly believe that from the time you're 10 back, you learn everything you need to know in life. Good, bad, fear. So think of a 6-year-old, or think of your 6-year-old self. And monsters are still real. You don't know. And when you're 6, and I say it a lot of times, the young teenage girl gets her first heart broken. And the parent says, get over it. I know it hurts, but you'll be over it in a week. But when you're in that moment and you're that age, that's the only thing you know.
Right.
And you trust people because you're told to. And I was 6 years old, and we were in second grade. And I was 6. And we were in second grade, and Miss Ridley was teaching us how to read. So they started at the very beginning of the classroom. And I was a very outgoing kid. I mean,
I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't guess it, I didn't grow into this. It's just been like that. I can't help myself. So I'm sitting in class, and they said, okay, we're going to start over here on the right, and Sally's going to take the first chapter, and then the first paragraph, and then Billy, then Bobby, and then I'm at the back. And I'm like, okay. So I started reading. They got to me. I don't know, have you ever, at school, you ever done that, though? And they still do it today. I've asked some youngsters. They do still pick to read.
Yeah.
And they go paragraphs. And I got to mine, and I read, stumbled and stammered through it. And Miss Ridley, she goes, Michael Ray, get up here. So I ran up to the front of the class, and she said, read that again. She handed me her book. So I stumbled and stammered through it again, and she grabbed that thing out of my hand and swatted it. 6 years old, and she said, I swear, boy, you're as dumb as a box of rocks. Go sit down.
How did you feel in that moment?
That right there was crushing. Because
to be told you're dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah, think about a 6-year-old. And what happened, some people laughed. and there were girls that felt sorry for me.
Right.
So the rest of my life, what was I when I walked into school?
Yeah.
Dumb as a box of rocks. Now, what it turned out to be is I was dyslexic. We didn't know it back then, but it taught me how to communicate, taught me how to listen, and it taught me how to say to the smart girls in the class, get her up and get a little help when I needed it. So it taught me how to survive. And you go into survival mode. So at 6 years old, I didn't go and tell my parents that because my mom and dad liked me. They were telling me I was smart, right? And my teacher who was in that moment told me I was dumb as a box of rocks. So it's funny because later on in life, every time somebody said, okay, we have to read out loud today, we're going to take a paragraph, and I'll be like, oh man, no. It was like instant sweat, heart attack.
Yeah.
And I'd be counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. And then the girl right in front of me, every time she'd say, that was a short one, read another one. Dang it. I'd be trying to memorize that paragraph. And I always like, it was brutal.
So 6 years old, you are ingrained with this concept. That you're dumb as a box of rocks.
And I did. I struggled major in school, didn't know what it was, and they got older now, and my son has it too, but they have different strategies now, and they teach a process.
Sure.
And you lean into it.
But back then, we didn't know.
No, we didn't know it. And 6 years old, that was the first moment, and I still lean into that today. I still sometimes feel that. I'm that 6-year-old kid again, and I get insecure about certain things when I go somewhere because if I have to read anything, it's over. To this day,
right?
If I've talked to thousands and thousands of people all across North America, and I never read anything. I memorize even my little little slides, your PowerPoint. If I've got a quote up there, I memorize it because there's no way I'm gonna try to read in front of somebody.
So, what's the next time that you felt like you were in that well?
Okay, right after that, it's pretty rough before 10 years old, but I love playing football, and I went in there, and this is one thing I think I want to tell this story because it's about my mom and what she was and how she was about to do this. I love telling this because she's an amazing woman. First of all, she got pregnant when she was 16 years old with me. Thank you very much. Hi, Mom. I know you're going to be watching this. And I can always count on my mom, Nana. We call her Nana now, showing up to one of my events, or she'll be the first person to quote on my Facebook every time, or whatever I'm doing. She's my biggest supporter. But and that's the reason I think that I've been successful is because of things that her and my dad inadvertently poured into me.
Yeah.
Because she was a high school dropout. She got pregnant, had to get married. They're still married to this day. And when I was 7 years old, I loved playing football. Anybody you ask, I was going to be a professional football player. I'm going to play professional football. It's going to be awesome. Well, also, I was very small. So when signups came for the first time, they passed it out at school, the little flyer. And I hustled home to my dad. I was so excited. Look, Mom, look, Dad, I'm going to start to play football. And they huddled up together on the side over there, and I was bebopping around. And I was like, what are we waiting for? I've been talking about this since I could walk. Let's go.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, well, here's the deal. This is what my dad said. He said, boy, I'm going to let you go play football, but you're not going to quit. And you're going to go to every practice. And there's going to be days that it's cold, and you don't want to go. It's going to be hot, and you're not going to want to go. You're going to want to stay and play for your friends and watch your cartoons, but you're going to practice. Now, you can stop playing at the end of the year, and that's okay. That's not quitting. That's retiring. So I said, all right, Paul, that makes sense. And my mom said, go ahead. Well, the reason they were so hesitant is because I was a runt. I was 5 foot when I was a freshman in high school. And now, after I graduated, I got, better than 6'2". So I did grow eventually, but I was so small, and I was at that time a lot smaller than the kids. And I rolled up there, and my dad gets out of the car, and he's got the checkbook, and we're at the tennis courts up there on the little football field, and I sign up, and the birth certificate, and the old coach looks around my dad, and I'm standing there, and he goes, he looks like he might be a little too small to play. You probably should bring him back next year. And he slid that check and birth certificate back over to my dad. And my dad looked back at me, and I guess he could see it in his eyes because do you know what it's like the first time you felt rage? And you got really pissed.
Ooh, yeah.
It starts at a sweat at the back. It goes all the way up your spine and over your head and gives you chills, and your eyeballs swell up and tears you want to come out, but not because you're upset, because you're pissed.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Right.
He looked at me and he goes, is the birth certificate say he said he's old enough? And he goes, yep. And he goes, we'll be at practice on Tuesday. We get in the truck and head home. And not a word was said, no text messages back then, nothing. I hop out, I had to jump out of the little truck and head to my room, and my mom's doing dishes. This is what's so awesome. Think about this. I was devastated. I was told that I'm suck at something. I'm too small, can't do it on something you wanted to do. Now think about you and your life and the people that are listening to this or watching this. When people said something you want so bad and a influencer somebody that's in the know,
Right.
an expert, says you can't do it.
Right.
You're too small. There's nothing you can do about it. So I hauled butt and I was heading to my room and she was doing the dishes. 15-year-old dropout. And she didn't even look up. She said, hey, what? She's washing dishes and she goes, what'd they say? I stopped and I had tears in my eyes and I said, they said I was too small. She did not even flinch. She kept her head down, kept loading up the dishwasher. And she said, what do you think? And upset my status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I think he's wrong. She didn't even pause. She just kept going. All she said was, that's all that matters. Think about that. What do you think? It's not what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
That coach is gone. What do you think?
Right.
And what if she would have done what parents do today? A lot of them, oh, he's right, honey. Come on. We're going to find something else for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be okay. The rest of my life, I may have been a quitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because my dad said this that day. He said, boy, you're going to put the work in and you're going to work hard enough, you're going to be successful. That's bottom line, period. If you're going to put the work in, you can be successful if you're willing to go through the pain. Number two, what do you think? Before I was 10 years old, the lowest thing that happened to me, turns out to this day, I'll tell you another story here in just a minute, but to this day, my mom drew back on that and I didn't. I asked my mom years later, about 5 years ago on the first message, you remember that? And she said, oh yeah, I remember that. And when my mom's holding something back and about to tell you something that you probably don't know yet, she bites her little, oh yeah. Nana said, oh yeah. And I said, what'd you think? She goes, I wanted to call that coach and take him out behind the woodshed and whoop up on him and call him up and say, how dare you? How dare you hurt my little baby? But she didn't say a word. She just let me do it. I wound up, starting and doing well and had a lot of fun playing football. To this day, though, even when I got older and I faced some real challenges and I brought it to her, she'd say, well, you'll make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gave me the faith right then and the confidence to keep moving forward. Understand this. You don't win or lose. You win or learn.
I like that. You win or learn. All right. So we've covered 6-year-old Michael. We've covered 10-year-old Michael.
We got episode 2. We're going to go to another. I'll speed it up a little bit.
No, you're good. So, so when was the next time you had one of these in the ditch kind of times?
I got on a pretty good roll for a while. I went and started making money. My dad came to me at 10 years old and said, boy, you got to start buying your own school clothes now and your own football cleats if you're going to be this football player. I said, yes, sir. So I started mowing yards for $5, knocking on doors, mowing yards. Then I got to high school. I didn't grow till I was a freshman in high school. So then that happened. The whole game slowed down. I started getting really good and had the opportunity to go to college and play. And I was dating my hometown sweetheart. It was awesome, dude. I'm living the dream, right? I'm playing ball.
You're living your best life.
Yeah, I am. I am life by design. I didn't even know what it was then because I was validating all the things that I had planned. I had spoken those things out. I had written them down. I'd worked towards that. You can't hit a target you can't see, right?
Right.
It's super important to write those things down and talk about them and go ahead and get in the middle of it and fail. But so I was taking my shot, which 10 years old, we won't tell that story today, but I told myself I'm always going to take the shot. Something happened to me pretty devastating at 10, and I said, I will always take the shot. I walked out, and it's been painful, very painful. So I was in Iowa, and I got a phone call from my girlfriend, and I was on the payphone. Remember the payphone, right?
Yeah, back before cell phones.
Yeah, I had 4 quarters, and I popped it in, and I called her, and I had 2 minutes for 4 quarters. And she was playing that "What's Wrong, Nothing" game. You ever played that with "What's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? Nothing." And you knew something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I said, "Listen, Carrie's my wife's name still." And she said, "I said, tell me what's wrong. I got 2 minutes, and just gonna hang up." And she said, paused, and then she said, "I'm pregnant." Oh man, have you ever seen the cartoon characters on TV? When their eyeballs pop out of their head, smoke comes out of their ears, all their body parts fall off. That was me for about that long.
Yeah.
And I just pulled the phone back, and then I pulled up and I said, don't worry about it. Whatever it takes, it's going to be okay. Just don't tell your parents until I get there. Well, it was Iowa, and it was a long 3 days. No phone. Right. My life is over as I know it. No more ball. Not going out, doing what I was doing. It just derailed my life right then. And it was a long 3 days. And I get there, and when I hustle.
But in that moment, like, what were you thinking?
First of all, I was straight in survival mode.
Yep.
And actually, yeah, it was in survival mode, and there's 4 stages of growth you go through. And you guys can and there's 7 areas that we talk about. You're very familiar,
Yeah.
spiritually, mentally, and physically, and personally. And those 4, think about it. Out of the 7 that we focus on, the first 4 we talk about are about you.
Right.
And I didn't even know any of this. I've validated it later. I didn't even know that I knew it at the time. So survival mode is, and there's 4 stages of life: survival, stability, success, and significance.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So I was in total survival mode. At first, I was in victim mode. I wasn't even in survival mode.
Right.
I was fight or flight. What am I? Am I going to fight?
Your eyes were popping out of your head,
Yeah.
and your elbows were falling
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I was either going to, what are you going to, what are you doing? You fighting or flight? You know, the whole time I'm thinking that. And then as the days went on, I think it's innate in me. You talked about it before, but I just said, how do we fix it? Because by personality trait, I'm really outgoing. Have fun, let's do this. But by my environment as a kid, you got to take care of your brothers.
Right.
You got to buy your own
So
clothes.
you went into problem-solving mode.
I went right into my D, which was my problem-solving mode. So I started thinking how I can put this thing back together.
Yeah.
My life. So that's where I stood there.
So you drove.
Got home, hustled back to the house, went straight up to her apartment. I ran in, and she was in a fetal position over in the corner.
Oh, gosh.
Bawling. And she was like, have you ever cried like that? You know what I'm talking about? That kind of cry? Well, it sucks when you're doing it, but when you see somebody that you care about and that you love doing it, man, it just breaks your heart.
Right.
I was like, what's wrong? I don't know if something happened to the baby or what happened.
Right.
And she said, I told my parents. I was like, oh. I was like, that's the only thing I didn't want her to do is tell her parents. And I said, well, what'd they say? They said, well, and pause for 1 second. She's very affluent. They come from the right side of the tracks in our hometown. They're like very well off. I come from not the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
And they loved me when we were dating. They bought me more Christmas presents than she got. They followed me around, watched me play ball. It was just awesome.
But in that moment,
I said, what'd they say? And she said, they said, if I marry you for the rest of my life, I'll have to buy my clothes from Walmart.
Ouch.
I was like, oh, no problem. We got this. That's it. That's the only problem. Walmart's great. It's not a garage sale.
Yeah.
That's where I got my stuff from.
Right.
I thought it was going to be, and she did not think that was funny. And she thought that was the most devastating thing ever. And they were hurting for her, right? I don't blame them now that I'm a dad.
Yeah.
But I said, but in that moment, there was another moment right there.
Right.
She will never have to want for anything. I'm going to go out and make sure I give her monetarily everything she needs. And sure enough, I got started and fell right on my face and lost everything. Yeah. So I know.
But y'all got married.
So we got married. We hauled boogie.
And had the baby.
Had the baby. It was awesome.
Was that Presley?
Presley, yeah. She's the one that had Hollis. Yeah, we had the baby. It was great. We went out, started making really good money right off the bat. I was selling knives, and I was knocking on doors, selling knives. Lost all that, and here's what happened: I was successful, but I didn't realize what I was doing. I just was outworking. And here's the deal: if I work 80 hours, you work 40, I'm eventually going to catch you. That's all I did. That's all I did. We just kept working, and I didn't realize that I had nothing about money. Just knew I had to make a ton of it. Gave it to her, bought the houses, bought the BMW, bought all that stuff. Well, then I lost the business, and I lost everything 3 times in my 20s. I know what it's like to have to park your truck over at the Piggly Wiggly grocery store and walk home so the repo guy doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And guess what? He finds it.
Right.
2 cars repossessed. I've had 2 homes foreclosed on. And at 30, hammered me with divorce papers. Took my kids.
So is that another one of your ditches?
That's it.
Yeah.
That was the lowest.
The lowest.
Yeah. This other stuff taught me things.
Yeah.
And
So you were successful, lost it, successful, lost it, successful, lost it.
Successful, a little arrogant, look, I can do this. Look at everything she has.
Right.
Wasn't sustainable.
Trying to please her parents to prove them wrong.
I'm trying to please other people. That's right. That's exactly right.
So how did that feel when she filed for divorce?
Crushed me. And I was always thinking.
Did you see it coming?
Oh, I should have at the time. And here's the deal. She is not in the wrong at all. She got tired of hearing next month. Oh, it's going to get better. It got better. Oh, it gets worse. Oh, here it is. She's got tired of hearing those things over and over. It's not on her at all. And that's what we got to understand. She was hopeful. She wanted me to do good, right? She wanted me to prove her parents wrong. She was hoping it would happen. But with 2 kids and all that going on, she finally just said, and then plus she had people in her ear and
Mm-hmm.
done.
And
And
she
I
was
made the bad
done.
decisions. It was on me. And that right there is I was totally back in survival mode again. Worst I've ever been because my children, and I'll be honest with you, uh, the thought of another man tucking my kids into bed at night kept me coming back.
Yeah.
And that's not the right reason.
So where were you? So lay out the picture for me of where you were in that lowest moment.
Oh, the lowest moment was the night before I had to go to divorce court. You might know a little bit about that. And I was on top of an abandoned building in downtown Dallas. Had no home, nowhere, and she had moved back in with her parents and took the kids, and I hadn't seen them in a little bit, probably a week. She never kept them from me. Wasn't like that. But I was up there and I was drinking beer with the homeless dude, and we were just getting
On the top of a
top of the
building
pops is what I
and
called it. And it was an abandoned parking garage down there in that West End, and I didn't realize how low that is until after the fact. But then next morning, I just stayed up all night. Next morning, I got up, and there's the elevator shaft. This is the lowest of the low. There's an elevator shaft right there, and I usually walk around it and I go down the fire escape, but it was all the way down. The elevator wasn't even there, but it had a cable, and I stopped when I was walking around it. I backed up, and I took about 4 steps, and I jumped and I grabbed that cable and swung to the other side. And I didn't. I wouldn't have cared if it had broken.
do you think you jumped hoping it would break?
I know that I don't think I was hope. I don't ever really. You're the first person that's ever even asked that. I didn't care, and it just. But when I came out that other side, I went to the courthouse.
So before you go to the courthouse,
Yeah.
so in that moment, you're drunk on the top of a parking garage with a homeless guy. You're jumping and grabbing cables and not caring if you fell or didn't fall.
Right.
Like in that moment, how did you decide to go on and go to the courthouse versus not going or not caring or not doing anything else?
Kids, my kids. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Michelle, I just do whatever it takes to pay the light bill, right?
Yeah.
But I love being a dad.
Yeah.
I love it. And
So in that
I'm not the
moment,
best at it, but I love doing it.
You could see your kids' faces.
Yep. That was the most ridiculous thing I've done was jumping through that thing. But it also, like it was a sign to tell me that, yep, man, it's time to go face it. It's time to get in
Yeah.
front of it.
So you left the parking garage and
Yep.
spit cleaned yourself up a little.
Not really. So I just showed up there at the court, no representation. This young attorney lady comes up, bless her heart, sits down and starts just giving me the business. Here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to pay. We're about to walk in front of this judge and you're going to owe this stuff. You got to pay it. And I wouldn't even listen to her. I was just numb. And I just went, well, can I pay more if I have it? Because they had came up with such a low number because I had nothing. I had nothing.
Yeah.
No, it was all gone.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. You can't just expect that. And she just that scrambled her eggs a little bit. And she's like, just hustled off. And I didn't know this till later. So we got in front of the judge. He threw the thing down. Here's what you're going to do. Boom. And later on, the lady goes, first of all, she went to my wife, Carrie. And she goes, first of all, he's drunk. He's still drunk. But secondly, y'all need to get some help because that boy's broken. Even her attorney said that. And I didn't know that. I thought I was divorced for 2 years. She never signed the papers. But I got in a truck right then. You talk about survival mode. And we go from survival to stability, from stability to success. And then and all 3 of those are important. And there's when you're trying to be, do, and have more. But significance is like your shirt says, is when you're helping other people be, do, and have more and win.
Right.
Well, I was in survival mode. So before that, before I swung across that deal, I was in victim mode. I was blaming everybody else, blaming everything this guy happened. If I hadn't done that, just blame. The problem with that is those people are controlling you when that happens. And I didn't realize this until recently. But you got to, before you go to survival mode, and that's a victim mode, it's flight. It's a fight. It's flight. That's what it is. And it's like pointing fingers. Well, and that person is never going to solve your problem.
Yep.
I don't care if they did it to you or did it to yourself.
Right.
Most of my pain self-choosing. It's me taking the shot, busting my ass, skinning my knee. But when you go to survival mode, you start doing what I was doing those 3 days when I found out I was pregnant, start piecing it together on how we could possibly move forward. I jumped in the truck, and I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, didn't have anything, nothing. I leaned over in the floorboard of the truck, and there was an envelope. I reached over, and I grabbed that envelope, And on the back of it, at the very top of it, I wrote WIN, win. What's important now? That was my first win list, which is my to-do list. And it was like, get a job, get gas,
Yeah.
get your kids back, get your wife back, get your life back.
Do you still have that envelope?
No, but what's really cool is I have the planner that I finally got started generating some cash. I've always been able to hustle and make money. And I bought a planner and I had my win list on Monday. I just write win list. It's a to-do list. Some things are bigger than others. And I do the hardest thing first, the hardest conversation first. And I get in front of people and I'm just like leaning into it. On the very front of that, I wrote from that envelope to that. You've seen it, right? I've carried it around and I wrote those exact things on my first win list.
So you leave divorce court, you get in your truck, you write down on an envelope, basically these survival tasks of get a job, make some money, get your kids back.
Yeah. She started letting me, and I decided that day too, she started letting me sleep on the couch in the house that her parents had bought her. Oof. I hate to even, thank goodness for them.
Yeah.
But also, that was humiliating. And I was humbled, and I said this. And I remember fighting with her before this went bad when we were just going through stuff. I remember saying, I'm sick of it. I'm going to go halfway. That's it. I'm not going to come here. I go all the way all the time. I do all these things for you. And you don't, I'm going halfway. That's all I'm doing from now on. And then that day, when I first started seeing her again and getting back in front of her, I said, I'm going to go 100%. I'm coming all the way, whatever it takes. WIT, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this thing work, to get my kids back. And so what happened was, I'm like that old country song they say we used to play those records backwards. When you play a country song backwards, you get your kids back, get your wife back, get your dog back, get your life back. And now I went back to work. We've built several companies. We've been, they've been devastated, but we've had one of them's always doing well.
Yeah.
And when I was 45-ish, we sold one of them for generational money that we invented, and we had our big home run. And it's pretty awesome. I was in California doing a talk training on how a Fortune 500 company bought it, this technology, and I had to train people. And I was in California when the wire hit. The attorney calls me up, and I had forgot my socks that day. I had all my fancy clothes, but I forgot my socks. So I was doing a presentation with no socks on. As soon as the break came, the attorney calls, my banker calls. Hey, congratulations, man. The wire just hit. If you need anything, let me know, right? It was awesome. And I jumped, and I called Carrie right away, and I was like, hey. And she didn't answer. So I jumped in the truck, and I was going to drive to get me some socks. This is funny. And while I'm walking out of the sock store, my wife calls me and says, hey, what's going on? I said, yeah, we're both crying, the money hit. They're all crying. The money came through. The deal went. And she goes, where are you? And when I could shop wherever I wanted for anything I wanted in my whole world, my first purchase was from Walmart.
There you go.
Bam.
In that moment, did you look up at Walmart and think, I've come full circle?
I walked out just like this, and I just turned and looked back up at it, and I was holding my sack of socks, and I just started giggling. Yeah, you can't make that up.
Don't you wish now you'd had a smartphone and could have taken a selfie at the Walmart?
It would have been, Walmart socks.
Yeah.
It would have been a hashtag socks. It would have been funny. So it's awesome. And now they're amazing people. They come to my house for Christmas. It's awesome.
The in-laws?
Yeah, the in-laws. So yeah, and struggle's still there. There's things right when you think you have it. You know that when I met you, man, everything's great. We're just having fun. We're traveling. We're talking. We're speaking in places and building this stuff. And I'm sharing this story. And then, life takes a turn. You got to start drinking your own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right. So
Carrie says hello, by the way.
Oh.
And if you guys don't know it, so here's the deal. You got to let me tell off on you a little bit.
All right, you can tell on me.
So so Michelle and I meet. We're having fun, and she's speaking. I'm talking, and she came to like some thing I was speaking at, and my wife never comes, and she showed up with my little daughter at the time. Lily was like
Lily.
10, and Michelle is sitting sitting right in front of Carrie, I guess, right? And Carrie's in the back of the room over to the left, and I'm speaking. She's over to the left, and we're talking, blah, blah, blah. We tell some of that story, and I said, and she's right here today, and everybody starts laughing or clapping. I don't remember what's up, but Michelle turns around, whips out her business card, and says, hey, call me if you ever need it. If you ever need to get a divorce. Oh, man. Oh, it's so funny because my little girl on the way home, she goes, Mom, you're not going to divorce Dad, are you? So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. So, for those people out there who are at that, abandoned parking garage in the West End with their 12-pack of beer.
24-pack.
24. Oh, goodness. 24-pack of beer on the roof of the abandoned garage with the homeless guy, and feels like, the guy that feels like he has nothing left, no job, no family, kids, wife, feels like he's lost everything. What's the first piece of advice you would say to him?
Get up. Get your ass up and let's go. That's what God says to me. There's my plan, right? And then there's the plan.
Yeah.
Here's what I have a problem with is somebody, I'm just praying about it, and we're just praying about it. It's going to just let it happen. My ace. Here's the plan. I'm going to pray about it, pray over it, and I'm going to take action. Now, God says, you need to move over here, or that's going to hurt. And then he lets me do it.
Yeah.
And then he comes up to me and just kind of, now you ready? Get up. Let's go to work. Just get up. You got to move forward. Don't stay there because you're in that victim mode. It's time to go to survival. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to take a step. It's time to rally the troops, the people around you. And if the people around you are not the right people, get new people.
Yeah.
And if you need help, ask for it. And if you don't, prove it. My dad told me that. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to prove it. Now, the problem I have, and this is what some of the guys have, and some women now too, you women are so much stronger than men. We're wusses. Is that you don't get help.
Yeah.
You don't get the right kind of help. And if you can't, and ladies take care of the family and the job and all the people around them and tugging on them all the time. And us men get sick and we're like, oh, honey, I got to, just act like and you're just like, get up and take action. You've got to do that. Get new people. And if you need help, ask for it. And if you don't, prove it and pour into yourself, build into you. That's super important. That's the first step.
So I asked you for one step and you gave me like 15.
I give you, I know, I'm sorry.
You are over-delivering, man.
I know it, man, because, and I'm coaching like this too. Everybody's like, oh, these people come in and pay for coaching, and then we're doing 4 sessions. We wind up doing 10, and I'm there longer. I just, we just got to, you can have everything in life you want if you'll open up other people get what they want. And it's so hard to do things like, so give me one thing. Give me 3 takeaways.
Yeah.
That's tough to do.
Yeah. No, I get it.
What would you tell your 18-year-old self? I saw that. You sent me that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would tell that guy, it's going to hurt. Get ready.
But you learn.
I don't think that's right. It's only hard till you learn it, which is the name of the book. And you can get the ebook. So.
We'll
you kick my butt. We'll get to that.
All right.
She put her book out. I said, everybody needs to write a book. You need to write a book.
Oh, yeah.
Bam. Guess what?
Talk about my book.
12 Chicken Alligator right there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Wisdom from Mama.
Yes.
Available on Amazon.
I love it.
Yeah, I think you still owe me a car wash. Didn't we bet a car wash for who got their book out first?
I am personally going to come wash this awesome new truck you got.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you
my
waited.
new Bronco.
Yeah.
You have to wash it. It's kind of tall. It needs a tall person to wash it.
I can handle it. I got you.
So, all right. So you're going to tell him to get up and then a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk about the 4 stages of success. Okay. So we've talked a lot about survival mode, right? And really even pre-survival mode, it's really cool, place of being in the victim mindset, and that life is happening to you, not you happening to life.
Ooh.
So then you move in.
Down. I'm gonna steal that. I'll give you credit the first time I say it.
Give me credit. So then you move into survival mode, where you're just putting one foot in front of the other.
That's all you can. That's it, right? This is the rule. This is the rule. You got to go as far as you can see. And when I get there, I promise you'll be able to see further, but you've got to go.
So for the person in survival mode, what do you tell them? Where do you go from survival mode?
Well, you got to turn inward, and you got to look at what you want. What do you really want to accomplish? You have a discovery meeting with yourself, and you get out the paper and you write it down. And spiritually, mentally, and physically, what do I want? What do I need? Don't say wants, go need. What do I have to have?
Because you're in survival mode.
Not what.
That's about needs, right?
Yeah. What's your win list? You put out your win list and you put down spiritually, mentally, and physically, what do I have? Personally, what do my relationships need to look like? Right. And you write it on your win list.
Yeah.
And you keep that. Now, you have 2 win lists. You have your to-do everyday list, and you do the hardest thing first. But you have to have a conversation with yourself. And it has to be spiritually, mentally, physically, and personally, where am I? Who am I, and what do I need to sustain myself? So from
survival, you go to stability.
Yeah, and then that's when you're getting some traction. You're marking some stuff off the list, And then you're like, okay, what does my family look like? And it doesn't matter if you want to, it's everything to me. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. But what does it need to look like? That's another area. You got to look at these things, and you rate yourself from 1 to 10, 10 being the best. That's the little wheel of life that Mr. Ziegler gave us. So when you get to that point, then you look at your career. But when you're in survival mode, it seems like it always comes back to money first.
Yeah.
And I have that last on when I got to stability and got to success, it flipped. The money was not as important because I had it. And I don't care. If I got $5, you can have 4 of it. And in college, you can have all of it as long as I can get a 6-pack of tacos and a 12-pack of beer. I'm good. Money means nothing to me.
Right.
Which is not good. I mean, that's not the right mentality. We have to pay attention to all 7 areas. And financially, I mean, I've had money and I hadn't had money. I'll promise you it's better to have it.
Yeah.
It's reasonably close to oxygen, right?
So you move from survival to stability, from stability to success. All of those are inward.
Mm-hmm.
All of those you do to and for yourself.
Yes.
And I'll never forget the first time I ever met you. The first time I ever met you, you and Edwin were speaking. And I heard, I think it was actually Edwin who said it, but you both had said it, that success is something that you do to and for yourself. But what comes after success, right? And what comes after success is being significant to others. And in that moment, it just made such a difference in my life. Like it was one of those turning points of life that Malcolm Gladwell talks about, just a turning point for me in that moment that we go from success, when you think you've done everything you can do and checked all the boxes in your career or whatever, then what's next? Well, what's next is pouring into other people and being significant to other people. And that just made such an impact on me that I even had a shirt done about it.
I love that.
That success is winning, significance is helping others win.
Absolutely.
And then, the other thing that you said in that moment when you and Edwin were on the stage the first time we ever met was whatever it takes, that you just do whatever it takes. No excuses. There's no excuses in that.
Mm-mm.
There's no, I can't because my 6th grade or my 6-year-old teacher told me I was dumb as a box of rocks, or because the football coach told me that I was too small. You just do whatever it takes to be successful or significant to others. Those 2 things really, were so impactful for me in the message that you share with many people.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you think that you've impacted?
Oh, I don't know about impacted, but we've been exposed to a lot.
Millions?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've been really blessed when it comes to that.
What's your average audience size?
Oh, we do a lot of small trainings, like for companies. We've been doing mostly that since COVID. We didn't do any public, but we're clicking a few that. We've spoken to a lot of people. It's been a lot of fun.
How long have you been a motivational speaker?
My whole life. Come on. No, I started about 5 years ago with Edwin Britt. Edwin Britt's amazing. He's awesome. He actually shared the stage with Mr. Zig Ziglar. If you guys look him up, he's pretty impressive. And we started this journey probably 5 or 6 years ago now. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
And impacted millions of people.
We got a lot more to do. That's for sure. And I love the way that you said that's my significance right there. That's my win. What you just said. When somebody comes up to me and says they've done it. And what's more important, I hear people all the time say, "Oh, you changed my life today. You told me this is going to be great." But they don't ever tell me what they're going to do.
Yeah.
The action. You said, "I'm doing this," and you did it.
I'm doing it.
You are doing it. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, I got, that gives me chills. I'm sold. That right there.
Yeah.
That's my juice right there. And remember, I said it earlier, but the journey's more fulfilling than the end. My goal was to make generational money is what I called it. I always want to impact generations of my family. And that's what that was the goal. That was the goal. Got to do it. Kept working. Then I did it. And I remember that night after going to Walmart, went out and ate the biggest tomahawk chop steak in the history of California. It was awesome. But at night, at the end of the night, I went to the hotel. I went to the top of the hotel where they had a pool up there. And I walked out and I was like, now what?
Now what?
I got it. I won. I got the end. It's a mindset of a champion, and the journey is more fulfilling than the end. So it moved from chasing the cash and doing, all these things to moving to significance. How can I help enough other people do, be, do, and have more? Whether and mostly it's not about the cash for me at all. It hasn't been ever. But for even those people, when they come in and say, "I need to make more money, I need to make more money," well, I'm telling you, it ain't about the money. It's about the journey.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, we're gonna play a little game.
All right, I'm
All
ready.
right, you're gonna catch,
Michael,
right?
let me get loose.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were a football player, so you played
Now
catch,
I got
right?
pressure on me.
All
What if I don't catch it?
That would have been really funny if
Yeah,
you hadn't
it
caught
would've
it. All right, wherever your thumb lands, you have to answer that question.
Oh, something you did that got you. See, I'm reading. I had to take my time to read that. Something you did that got you in trouble.
Ooh.
Well, I can't.
Everything.
What? What generation? What day? That got me in trouble. Oh man, I don't know. One time. Me and my boys would sneak out at night, run up to 7-Eleven and get us a burrito, microwave burrito at 7-Eleven. My parents went to bed, and then one day we were walking back. One night, come back to the house about 2 a.m. Car turns around and whacks my buddy Chris Swilling. Just turned around and threw the burrito at the car and hit it. It was a bunch of teenage boys, and we were like young, and we started hauling booty, and I was the slowest one, and they caught me. And that was painful.
Ooh.
That hurt.
Ooh. Yeah, I bet your dad was not happy.
Yeah, my dad, he's like, and I'd get in trouble all the time. I just wouldn't listen, do it the right thing. And here's what was cool about my parents is they let me go out and skin my knee, right? Don't climb that tree. You're going to hurt yourself. Well, I'd go climb the tree. And he'd pull me down just one time and say, "Let me tell you something, boy. Don't do that. You'll hurt yourself." And then sure enough, I'm climbing that tree again, and he would go knock on Mr. Glover's door, get a keystone out, click the keystone, and say, "Watch this, Jerry. Michael's about to bust his ace." And sure enough, I would. But then I'd come home crying. What a great coachable moment, though. He didn't realize all these things poured into me. Those things, the most pain in my life has put me in a position to be significant. So when you fail, no, that's what you have to do. I'm sorry, I'm not playing a game.
Good.
But that's what it's about. It's about failing. It's about failing and falling forward and getting up and taking action on it. What I learned from that. Yeah, what I learned. Let's go play. Let's go do a couple more things wrong.
Yeah. Awesome. What was your dad's name?
Harvey T. Newman.
Harvey Newman.
Harvey Trent.
There you go. All right. Throw it to me and I'll answer one. But you have to be nice and throw it easy. All right. One item on your bucket list.
Ooh. What you got?
Ooh. So, I mean, I had one item on my bucket list, and that was to go to Africa for my 50th birthday and see the Big 5-0 for the Big 5-0. But I did that.
I know it.
So now I have to have a new bucket list, right? So I would say one item on my bucket list is to see my husband in Italy. Is to watch my husband eat his way through Italy.
That would be killer.
We had planned to do that the year that the pandemic happened. We were supposed to go that fall to Italy, and we weren't able to do it because of the pandemic. So my husband's a chef, you know that.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So being able to see him enjoy Italy would be so great.
You know what's cool about that, Michelle, and about what you do? People have bucket lists all the time, and they know they're never going to do it.
Oh, I'll do that.
Ain't no doubt about it. I know 100% fact. When you put someone on your bucket list, it will get marked off. So you have gotten to hear the story of Michael Ray Newman today, somebody that has been so significant in my life and hopefully in you guys' lives as well. The thing that I have learned from Michael Ray Newman above all else is about being significant to others. Being a success is something that you do for yourself. Being significant is something that you do for other people. And there's so much that even you personally get from being significant to others. I also enjoy hearing him talk about his win list, what's important now. And every day I have a win list of what I'm going to win at today and the things I'm going to accomplish today. Not just the menial tasks like paying the bills or doing the dishes. Which my husband's probably laughing at because he knows I don't do the dishes either. But you know, the more significant things that can lead you to living your best life and achieving the goals that you set for success. And then whatever it takes,
we do whatever it takes to achieve your goals and achieve your success. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Michelle O'Neill Show, and this one with Michael Ray Newman. Join me next time. See you later.